let's just sew whatever. Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today on this experimental video of making this tote bag. It seems kind of like the Lauren tote, but it's a lot taller. I think the base is similar, but I did cut the base wrong. It probably needed to be 6 inches wide instead of the measurement I gave it, so if you try this and you want a wider bottom, I'd go ahead and cut that a little bit differently, but it'll look different as well. And I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. I love this handle situation. I love that I got to use my cylinder arm a little bit more, and this was a nice chill, nobody telling me what to do, I'm telling me what to do. So enjoy. And also my mic died at some point, so editing Lauren is gonna have to deal with that. See how she fixes it. Everybody, so I am kind of freestyling this pattern. I'm pretty sure it's very loosely based off of the Lauren bag. It's just a simple tote. I may or may not give measurements. This might just be kind of like a fun experiment. I just need to create something fun. I really want like a new tote bag, as if I don't have 40 million already scattered about. But I kind of have this idea for a fun work bag. I was sent from my supplier a sample of what is essentially Theratex from Fabric Therapy, and I do enjoy working with it. But I'm excited that it's my print, so I'm going to kind of play around with some techniques, putting it together, creating some interesting kind of pockets to play with. Oh, that's my lining. That'll be fun. It'll be a bright print. But I think I'm going to add quite a bit of interfacing to this bag and do it kind of as a drop-in lining, but we'll see. A lot of times, fun bag making for me is experimenting and coming up with something new. I don't necessarily want anyone to tell me what the bag is going to look like. I want to tell the bag what it will look like. So that's what I'm kind of going to be doing. I have some various pockets I want to add. I don't want to do a basic zippered pocket on the inside. I want to do like these zippered slip pockets that I did forever ago that I've seen kind of a resurgence of, and I think that's fun. So yeah, we're just gonna, it's a bit of a freestyle situation while I de-stress from the day. It is like 11 p.m. and I mean, so far it's been a really long year. And it's only the 6th or the 5th? I don't even know. Okay. So it's 19.5 wide and then 15 tall. And then I do have corner cutouts to add my bottom panel. And according to my math, those are 3.25 by 1/2 inch. I love how I was like, I'm not going to give away measurements. Then I'm like, here's my trade secrets. Just kidding. Okay, 3.25 by 1/2. And then I even have my little scraps here to verify that I'm like cutting the right size. Because, I mean, who knows? I think I'm going to be adding sewfuse plus to both lining and exterior, and then creating a drop-in liner for the bag. I think that's going to be like a really nice weight for the tote. So I'm not going to be adding a ton of stabilizer past that like 1-inch mark and within my seam allowances, just so the top of the bag is strengthened with those 2 seams and it's not too thick. So we've got that. I'm adding like a sneaky slip pocket to this piece here. I wonder if this is wide enough. Oh, sweet. I cut this piece and it wasn't quite big enough. So I'm gonna like use this for the pocket instead. So I can cut a second pocket the size I want it to be. So it'll be nice. I cut this pocket to like 10 by 18. And then I'm gonna cut a lining piece as well and do right sides together, create a zipper pocket, add my zipper, right sides together, or even just fold in those raw edges. Oh yeah, that'd be much nicer. Which means I want to cut my lining just a smidge smaller to maybe that would be 9. I'll do 9 1/4 by 18. Yeah. All right, cool. That's for my lining. This is another reason I cannot create actual patterns easily. I mean, clearly I have. But like my brain is just like, oh, we could do that. We could do that. Exterior lining. And again, sometimes that's more fun than listening to a pattern or having to sit there and like write it all out as you go. My goals this year, if anybody cares, are to just kind of continue to grow the classroom space at Sew Whatever Studio and connect more with teachers from all over the place and get to know a lot more people, I guess. Just kind of grow and focus, spend more time with family, and try to prioritize my mental health a little bit more than I have been. I think that'd be good. All right, so I already have my bottom panel cut. I think I might do Decovil heavy on both of the bottom panels. I considered adding foam to this as well and doing some like free motion quilting through them, but I think the bag will be busy enough. So I'm like, maybe we won't do that. I didn't plan to add any kind of zipper closure, but I could. I'm just kind of brainstorming what that would look like in my head at the moment. Cause like I could finish the top with vinyl, but I don't really want to. I could create a vinyl zipper panel, but I don't really want to. So maybe magnetic closure. I could do like an over the top magnet so that like I can still get into things, but it's not like a bag that just lays open. We've been having a lot of trouble with bedtime with Dorothy, so that's been mentally draining. sometimes. I am doing 2 of those little zippered pockets. I'm using a water-resistant canvas that I sell on my website. All right, my heat press is almost ready. I don't have anything else. I'm cutting out of the water-resistant canvas. I got my pocket linings. I have this really fun green that I'm going to be using. So go ahead and cut out my bottom panel, and then this is going to be my handles as well. I think I'm going to do 3 by 24 inch handles. So I'm kind of looking at, it's a tote bag from Rothy's, and that's kind of my inspiration for this. And it has this little handle like that. Oh. It's got like a little scoop to it. Hopefully you can see that. And I'm just kind of trying to figure out in my head what I want that to look like. Obviously, I think webbing would be the way to go, but I don't want the end to fray, and webbing would potentially, I think it would look weird. So this would just be a faux rolled handle. Yeah, that would be good, because then, yeah, I'm happy with this choice. So 3 by 24. And then once I get this folded in on itself, it's going to be 1.5 inches wide, almost. And then I can kind of like scoop it, or even potentially like trace out the shape, cut it 1/4 inch, and then like snip and fold up, and maybe even cut out a little piece of stabilizer for that section to reinforce that and make sure it doesn't fray. But then again, you could also use edge coat. Okay, so that one's marked and ready to go. I feel like I've gotten not worse at bag making. Like I haven't been able to do it very much lately. 2023 was spent teaching and, you know, growing that side of my business a little bit more. And while it's been really fun, it's also just been really draining, and it's so hard to cut out so many different kits and not get to see them come to life by your own hand. As satisfying as it is to watch other people do it, it's just not the same. So I'm excited for Sew Whatever Studio to grow and to watch other teachers come in and just knock it out of the park with instructing others on what to be doing, and me just supporting them, letting them take the lead. All right, 5.5 by 13, yes. Okay, just checking those are the right size. So I'm gonna grab my like nylon fabric or polyester, whatever it is, and cut out again that little pocket that's 10 by 18 for little zipper pockets. Then we'll move on to cutting out the interfacing. Yeah, I really don't have any other plans for this fabric, so I don't mind cutting into it, kind of experimenting. I don't have any plans to carry this fabric. I feel like we have so many already, and I don't like to step on the toes of other businesses. Like Nancy is such a dear friend of mine that I would hate to, without her explicit permission, carry a product that I know she worked really hard to source and did her research on and kind of paved the way for that one. Okay. Oh yeah, this is also kind of like a hardware-free bag. You could add purse feet. We're going to need zippers, of course, but other than that, we really don't need any, which will be fun. I do think this fabric is so fun for like little waist bags and like slouchy backpacks, things like that. Lining, it's such a fun texture and sound. All right, we're gonna get our sewfuse plus out, and then probably some Decovil heavy for the base of the bag. I really love sewfuse plus. It's so inexpensive. The owners of the company are some of the sweetest people in the world, and I just love it. We sell trial packs on the website if you're curious to try it. All right, so 15 is my height, so I want to take an inch away for the top, and I want to take half an inch away, so that's going to leave me with 13.5 by 18.5 for the interfacing. Well, that's pretty cool. It was like almost exactly that chunk that I had. So that was fun. Ooh. I'm almost wondering what it would be like with Decovil Lite on the outside and the sewfuse plus on the inside. I don't know. But you can absolutely interface this fabric, so if you're worried about it, it does interface. You just want to be careful with the iron you're using. I'm going to mark out my 1 inch along the top edge Oof, that was loud. So that I know my interfacing is going right on top of that. We'll see how well my math was. Perfection. Oh, so noisy. Okay. And so my problem when I write patterns is like, that measurement is just scribbled on paper over here. Will I be able to find it later? Who knows? Okay, so I'm gonna leave that there to rest. An issue with interfacing can be if you try to move it too quickly, it won't set correctly. And I have heard people say like they interface one day and then they come back the next day to sew. And that way they know everything is kind of set up. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, do I want Decovil Lite or not? I think I do, because I really want a tote that stands up. And sewfuse Plus could get there, but just not with as much, oh, well, good thing it's my bag, huh? Yeah, we're gonna cover that up anyway. Oh, it's makeup. Dorothy. Okay. Plus, I have this giant roll of Decovil Lite that I bought forever ago. And what is the point if you just never use it, you know? So I think I'm gonna do Decovil Lite in the butt of the bag. I don't like the way I said it. Okay, so that's gonna be 12 by 4.5, because you're taking an inch off of the measurements. So I should be able to use my little ruler. There you are. Okay. 12 by 4.5. There you go. Alright, so this is going to be on my lining bottom piece. And then we're going to do heavy on the exterior. You could also choose to do a combination of the two, heavy and light. I'm going to feel what that's like before I continue to cut for my exterior, just so I can get a feel for what the fabric's like with the Decovil Lite. Just kind of, yeah, that's my winner. That's my winner. Okay. So my front has this little sneaky slip pocket. I cut into this. It's it's 6 inches from each outer edge, 1 inch down. So I'm also gonna mark out that 1 inch line here. And we'll see, maybe I need to cut this down a little bit, I don't know. I should be okay though. I'm gonna mark out a 1/2 inch seam allowance here for adding that pocket. We're gonna be putting right sides together. Hopefully you can kind of see that. Might do some knotted thread co hacks as far as like clipping and folding my seam allowance in a certain direction. After making the rosy bag, I was very much like, all right. So I'll be folding my lining here, or my exterior, I should say, down to here. And I'm like, do I want my stabilizer under it so that the top edge feels as crisp? I don't think so, because it's a lot of bulk. So we'll just do the one edge for now, but I do want to make sure that I cut out this notch so that the edge of my fabric just sits right on top of the heavy instead of me folding over the heavy and it being way too bulky. So I'm going to cut this piece twice out of my Decovil Lite, and then I'm going to just cut that 1/2 inch off in the center for that piece. And that measurement again is 13.5 by 18.5. All of this is based on a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and that just makes the math quicker and easier for me. But if you are a fan of a different seam allowance, then use whatever makes your heart happy, and it'll all work out. Alright, so I'm folding this in half. This is 6 inches in. So I'm just going to line that up, but I might need to do something different. I might need to do no, that'll be perfect. Because you want this to be a little smaller. So, just gonna cut. Is this right? We'll find out. I think right now I'm not cutting enough away, so I can always cut a little more out, and then you can save that for later. All right, yeah, that's what I thought. I need to cut a little bit more away. Because we don't want that within that seam allowance there, so let me center that a little bit better. There we go. Almost threw away my scissors. Oh no. Okay. Line that up. Press that down, and then we'll repeat that same piece, but this time I don't need the notches cut out because I'm not adding the slip pocket to both sides. I find I forget where things are if I have too many pockets. Ooh, that's gonna be real nice. Okay, 13.5. Come over. Okay, this one's really wrinkly. Just press that a little bit. I also didn't make that 1-inch mark to fold to. Okay, so then I just need heavy for my bottom stabilizer. Don't step on your stuff again. And since I have a scrap of the light, I'm gonna go ahead and add the light and heavy to the exterior. I'm done with this piece, so I'm gonna put it away. And that's something that's become really important to me within my studio space down here, is to put things away as I'm done with them. Otherwise I get really overwhelmed with a mess. And I can't think straight anymore. Okay. I'm still debating my magnetic closure. I feel like it's something I could always rivet on later, and near the end, before I top stitch it shut, I could see what it's looking like. So I've got scraps of heavy from class kits. Let's see what we can do. Perfect. All right, so that is it for cutting out the bag. I've got everything interfaced and ready to go, so I'm gonna sew it up. So we'll head over. Oh, that's nice. We'll head over and do that. All right, I do it all the time. Because I am doing a drop-in lining, I can kind of get my exterior all together and then focus on my interior. I'm gonna do that just so I can kind of get a feel for what that's gonna look like. I am using my cutout scrap pieces of everything to create like a little D-ring holder and a little snap hook. So I'm just going to be interfacing that super quick. You don't want to use too much heat on the right side of this nylon fabric. So I'm just interfacing it with Decovil Lite. Then I'll just fold this around and top stitch and then fold it in half. It'll be a nice little place for my keys to live or something. Right. Ooh, I don't know what fell, but it's fine. So this is my exterior lining pocket. So I want it to be face down and in the wrong direction because I want, oh, okay, yeah, it'll be fine. But technically I made this pocket big enough and I can control where the print kind of lands. So I'm just gonna put this here and clip it together. Oh. Okay. All my hair clips are at my cutting table. It's fine. All right. I'm just gonna follow the edge of my stabilizer. I may also finish this bag on my cylinder arm, so that it will look very nice. Make sure those layers sit flat. All right, everything take a step back. All right. Cutting away excess. I'm going to save this for later. And we're cutting into that seam. And then I'm going to use some tape to help me lay it flat. If your machine does not like double-sided tape, use caution there. And I can flip it and top stitch. Oh Lord, I should have centered that better, but that's okay. So again, you can't really iron this, so we're just gonna gently kind of, that is like almost perfectly lined up fabric placement. And I was just like, oh, I didn't plan that. We're gonna roll this seam back as best we can. And top stitch around that opening. Alrighty. And then this piece flips up I literally can't. It's nearly perfectly lined up and I'm dying a little bit. Okie dokie. All right. Now I'm gonna sew across the sides to close the pocket. I didn't even line it up. I'll go buy a lottery ticket tomorrow. And then I'm going to sew across the top here. Oh, I was playing with fire. So then technically all of that is going to get folded down as well. So it'll be a little bulky, but I can snip to try to alleviate and turn some of that. But yeah, I'm going to use double-sided tape on all of that. And then that's kind of what it ends up looking like. And then I've just got this really big slip pocket in the front that I can put whatever I need to in it. I guess I'll use 1/4 inch wide. That'll look nice. And this is going just on top of that 1 inch line. So we're going to fold to it. I probably shouldn't fold it to it now because I still need to put right sides together for one, and add the bottom and whatnot, but just too excited not to. Okay. Now we can add the bottom panel. I'm going to be sewing from the edge of my stabilizer to the edge of my stabilizer. And see if this makes a difference in the final construction of the bag. You can't really top stitch the bottom here unless you only do edge of stabilizer to edge of stabilizer. So keep that in mind. But yeah, this is the front of our really big dump tote so far. Or the back, whatever you want it to be. Ooh. So this is the other piece here. And I'm going to be adding a name tag from Heartwood and Hide. It's one I've kind of been saving. I think I'm going to add it to the top half. Kind of find my center line here. I'm just gonna eyeball it. It's a giant tote. It's like, it'll be okay. I'm gonna put my stitch length at 4. And then center that. Yeah, I like it. It's like I don't want it at the bottom, I don't want it at the top. Just kind of hanging out there will be good. And this one is a leather tag, so I gotta be extra careful. Should probably take my shoes off so that I have better control. And then Jade hand dyes these leather ones herself. Which just makes it that much more special. Okay, so we've got that sewn on. It looks pretty straight, looks pretty centered. And then I'm going to pull those threads to the back to tie off. Again, this one's leather. It's a lot fancier. I just want it to look really good. And a lot of the times with regular bag making tutorials, I don't have a ton of time and I'm not making them for a specific purpose, so sometimes I don't take as much time and care as I would like, and then I see other bag makers and I'm like, oh man, I'm just not as good as them, and then I'm like, wait, I could be if I had the time to take to be that good, because once upon a time it's pretty darn good. Not to say that I'm not still pretty good, but I just don't have the time to take to be very good. Oh. My little rant. Again, I'm not doing anything on the exterior. I probably shouldn't add my tape until I put right sides together, but it is what it is. This bag is huge. But I basically just did some math to copy the dimensions of that Rothy's tote. And yeah. Okay. So now I'll line up my side panels. Aw, poop. Well, maybe not. I was gonna say, I think my measurements like a little bit off, but I don't think I took quite 1/2 inch seam allowance here, so that would explain it. But I think I can kind of fudge it and it'll look okay. So I'm gonna try it. Let's see. And so now I'm just sewing from that corner to the other corner. And yeah, when I set it down, it just kind of adjusted itself. So let's see what that looks like. And then yeah, corner to corner. Oof. But it looks really fun. Like, it looks good in there. It's just that my bottom doesn't sit quite as wide as the top. Like, the bottom isn't the full bottom, the line or the exterior main kind of extends past, which I don't hate. And of course I'm going to trim that down. Just see what everything else kind of looks like once I add it. Ooh, that's such a fun size. All right. So I'm setting it down on itself instead of like clipping and manipulating. And like sometimes I feel like the corners can look a little funky on the Lauren bag and the Emily tote, so I wanted to try something different. But yeah, it looks like the bottom should be way wider than I cut it, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it. kind of a fun shape. So since I'm doing a drop-in liner, I can actually turn this right side out now and just kind of investigate, and I'll be able to trim this down a little bit, but I'm gonna see what it's like with that reinforced seam. Sometimes that's nice. I'm gonna go quick so I don't wrinkle this fabric with that Decovil. Yeah, hopefully you can kind of hear the structure this thing has. I'm in love. So yeah, my bottom is like, should have been to 6 inches, I guess. But it's not bad. Just means your corners will wear faster. Okay. It's so big. Like, it's floppy but structured, which is exactly what I wanted it to be. So pretty stoked. All right. So at that 1 inch mark, I'm gonna clip into my seam allowance, just right at the 1 inch mark. And then I'll start taping everything down. And then I'm not gonna unpeel all of my tape at once, just so I can go really slow. Okay. All of that is gonna go to 1 inch line. Hey, get back in there. And then this little area here where the pocket is has quite a bit of bulk, but I don't think my machine will have any issues going over it. One area that I can see being a bit of a problem is going to be this pocket kind of sagging. So I might even be able to just interface a little bit of Decovil Lite up there to help with that. If you struggle with bulk in this corner here on the side, you might even be able to cut that seam down at an angle. I'm really happy with the Decovil Lite. It's ever so slightly excessive, but I think it'll be really nice. And then this fabric is just so fun. And like it's a different challenge. So to prevent wrinkles with this, kind of stretching, pulling, and then pressing all those layers down. Okay. And yeah, I'll be able to sew on those handles last. But that is the exterior. And now I'm excited to kind of play with the interior and what we can make that look like. It's so big. Yes. Moving on to my pockets now. I'm going to measure 9 inches down. Yeah. Across the center. And then 1 inch, inch and a half from the outer edge, just making a little mark. And then 1/4 of an inch, no, I'll do 3/8 of an inch from either side. Which gives me a 3/4 by 7 inch box for my zipper pocket. And then we're going to put right sides together with the water resistant canvas centered, because I made my water resistant canvas smaller on either side. And I'm doing 2 of these pockets, but you could opt for just 1. And normally I don't like to sew around every box or every side of the box, but this time I'm gonna. And just be really careful where those end. And we're going to cut into that and flip it wrong sides together. We'll see what this looks like. This is kind of like a pocket from KR Threads as well. I think I cut this a little too big, but luckily my zipper tape is 1 1/4 inch, so I have a little space. And then trim as close into those corners as you can without going through. I have these Kai super sharp scissors. These are V5165 that I use for that reason. They're so sharp. And then iron if you need to, or use a seam roller. Might have been too wide. I'm gonna find out. So my plan was to kind of wrap this on itself and then fold it in half to create that zippered pocket. So we'll see. Gotta add our zipper. Zipper cut to like 7 inches, probably, because I don't want it to be extending past the edge of my fabric or anything like that. 8.5. Not at all what I thought. So I am using a lighter, just to make sure it doesn't fray. Didn't have it quite perfect. There we go. So I'm using little ghosty zipper pulls. These are my favorite. All right, I think it's good. I'm gonna use a little bit of 1/8 inch wide double-sided tape, because as it is, really close to the edge. Just gonna secure one side with the tape, but you do want to center that. Cool. I think it's good. So I'm flattening the fabric around the pocket. Right, sorry. I feel like some of the machines within our studio space like don't hold the fabric down, so I'm just kind of testing like, well, does mine even do it? I don't know. It does. Nice. Okay. So that's how close I am to the zipper tape. I'm not mad at that though, because then you don't have like a bunch of extra zipper tape in there. Anything like that. I do think I'll need to tape it into place, but I'm gonna brainstorm. Or I can put right sides together and just flip it, and then when I top stitch it on, it'll look great. Let's see. Because I'm not even sure where I want to place it. Because, yeah, I don't necessarily want it down way far, but I could also off-center it like this. Oh. And it doesn't matter which way the zipper's gone, unless your print is super directional. But I could do it like that. Or I could have the zipper sit on itself, which I think the only trouble you have is that like dips in, but I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing because like, let's say you're reaching into the bag, that's a slip pocket, and this zipper is sturdy and stands up on itself so that you can easily unzip to get what's in there out. So I'm gonna do that. We'll see what that looks like in the end. So I'm gonna line up the edges at the top first so that that sits exactly where I want it to. And I'm gonna use 1/4 of an inch and just barely catch that lining. Because when we flip it, and at the bottom, because we're gonna top stitch it on, we don't want to top stitch through all of that bulk, making it look weird. I'm just kind of fussing and lining those up. So 1/4 of an inch or so. Then across the bottom, I've got all of that. I could trim it. But clearly I didn't. And then I'll trim down the bulk at the corners. And I'll grab one of my lining pieces for now. So this is my pocket, flip. Oh yeah, and then I'm gonna add a little something to this as well. Pop out this corner. I'm just gently poking out those corners. Okay. Making sure your lining fabric is flush to the sides and that your zipper zips to the direction you want it to zip. I'm going to center this. Oh. I guess 2.5 inches up from the bottom. Feels good. Looks right. And centered. Just about there. Yeah, I like that. Okay. You stay there for a second. I'm going to add a little D-ring. And this fabric isn't going to fray, so I'm not super concerned about finishing the raw edge. You could use a lighter on it maybe. But like I just want a little, oh, I could fold it in half. Yeah, that's better. I feel better about that. So yeah, I'm just gonna fold this on itself. I'm gonna sneak it into the seam here. So like I can clip my AirPods to it or something. I think that'll look really nice. All right. So I'm top stitching this on with quite a bit of a seam allowance. And that is so I catch that raw edge. It's my lining. And like there's even room to rivet this if you really wanted to. So that's fun. I think it looks so cute. Oh my goodness. I love it. So yeah, the little D-ring is there. Got the zipper pocket here. I don't see or feel any of the raw edges of my pocket. It's all pretty well contained. It's a nice big pocket, and then behind that is another pocket, and it's structured enough to stand up on its own. So I love it. I'm gonna do another one, and I'm gonna sew the bottom of my bag on first, because again, I don't need a place to turn that or anything. I can't do it until I find the bottom, so I had it sitting next to my rivet press the entire time. So that was fun. And so same thing that I did on the exterior. I'm only sewing from my stabilizer to my stabilizer. Oof, I love the pop of color in the bottom. I have completed the other zipper pocket. I'm gonna do this little loop for something with a snap hook. Folding the fabric over and top stitching just from this side so I can actually see and catch, because again, they're just scraps. And that Decovil in there is going to basically give this like a lot of body, because I don't even know where I'm adding it, to be honest, or what it's for. But I am gonna sew it again. Just so it looks a little better. Then I trimmed off the raw edge, so it's super stable. I don't know that it would look cool outside of this zipper. So this is 2.5 inches centered from the bottom. I mean, I could angle it. That'd look really cute. I'm into it. So right now they're going to be on opposite sides of the bag, but I'm genuinely curious if I could like make the D-ring and the clip together to help keep the bag closed instead of actually making a closure. No, I think that'd be silly, but it's not about it. I mean, it's an idea. Is it a good one? Probably not. It's an idea. Okay. So I can see a little bit of that clip in there, so I probably could have like trimmed it at an angle, but I'm okay with it. I think the pocket is so cute. I really like it. All right, so I'm gonna add this to the other side. So yeah, like I said, they're on opposite sides of each other. Also on bottom panel. And then we can put right sides together. I'm gonna go ahead and add my double-sided tape here again. I'm gonna leave it outside the realms of my seam allowance. I don't know why I didn't think about that last time. Decovil Lite on this side would have been, on the lining would have been way too much. I like to describe Sewfuse Plus as like half a layer of Decovil Lite. So I'm very happy so far with my interfacing choices. If I had to birth this bag, I would not be happy with my interfacing choices. But since it's a drop-in, I don't think it'll be an issue. I'm lining up those top edges. I'm slowly kind of increasing my seam allowance as I get to the bottom of the bag, because I don't want there to be so much bulk. And since I left my exterior bulk on that bottom, I will be trimming this down because you don't want those two sitting on each other. Okay. And yeah, like I said, my math didn't work out, but it's okay. Because it kind of creates its own shape. You just can't cut away too far. I can cut that bit away. So we're flattening all that to fit together. And sewing from edge of the stabilizer to edge of the stabilizer. I'm a little like, okay, but is there a hole? There is on one piece, but the other ones, not so much. No. Guess I didn't center that just right. That's a hole. So I'm gonna sew all the way down on that side. Okay. Oh my gosh, but I love the inside of this bag so far. It's so fun. All right, again, I'm gonna cut just right next to the stitches where this is gonna get folded down. And this you do want with wrong side out, because it goes inside the bag that you've already folded. And like I said, this is a drop in, so it's gonna fit inside the exterior. And honestly, you might even be able to measure a little bit further down as you're folding so that your lining is a little bit shorter than your exterior. Yeah, that sewfuse plus has a lot of really nice structure right here, so it's feeling good. Yeah, my bottom measurement was way too small. I needed to be like 6. Let's see. Yeah, about 6 inches, and it would have fit. I don't know what I was thinking. But I'm okay with it. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna plop this inside. I don't really have a right or a wrong side. Could have trimmed down the seam allowances if you want. And then I'm very likely gonna tape this as well. You could even glue it if you wanted. But first I just wanna make sure everything fits nicely. Voila. Yeah, I'll switch over to the cylinder arm mostly because I think I'm gonna run out of bobbin anyway. But like, why buy a cylinder arm if the point is not to top stitch drop-ins, you know? And if you feel like it's too big, sometimes all you need to do is just kind of readjust. Pull on those layers a little bit more. But yeah, either gluing this or taping it is gonna make this go much smoother. I just kind of want to live with the way this bag looks right now. I love it. Oh my gosh, so much. And then this big slip pocket. These pockets are so fun. They look nice. I love the pop of color in the lining. It's so fun. Like, I know it's too small, but it still looks so cool the way that sits. All right. I don't even really feel like the bag needs a closure. I think the handles can come together and do that. Let me go ahead and sew up those handles and see what we're thinking. I probably want to leave 2.5 inches. I'm going to do 3 inches from the edge of the handle on either side. Okay, 24. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So it leaves like an 18-inch handle, which I think will be really nice. But either way, we want to fold this with long raw edges in to the center. We want to be right up against each other on the bottom, but give some room on the top. And if you find that your tape does that when you peel it off, it's because you haven't stuck it down completely the entire way. So wherever it lifts, there was a little bit of room for it to lift. Anyway. All right. So I'm getting closer to the bottom. So I'm going to line it up right on that line. I'm also testing out this green vinyl, so I'm excited to see how it sews. This is a faux rolled handle, so that's why I'm giving it some space in between so that it has room to kind of sit on itself. And then as I get closer to the bottom where it's going to be sewn onto the bag, you're going to see that. Go a little bit wider. All right, so I'm going to measure 3 inches up and just make a little line with a removable marker or a pen or whatever. Boop. 3 inches, little boop. I'm gonna line those up. You could do a much fancier handle if you wanted, but this is what I'm doing. This is what I like. I'm gonna sew from that line to the next. Folding that down on itself. 1/8 of an inch from that raw edge. I can hear my bobbin going. Stay with me, bobbin. Stay with me. We're okay so far? The Rudinea bag from Lavender and Twine has a really fun handle design that I've seen Shannon from Knotted Thread Co. use. So that's fun if you want to try that. It might be a bit much for this. Webbing could also work. It would look super cute. And I guess for that you would just kind of stick it in the seam, definitely tape that down. But yeah, I wanted something a little classier. That's nice. That's real nice, yeah. So there's plenty of room for me to trim that nice and flat. Again, I don't know if I want to do the shape that the Rothy's bag has, because what would it look like? Like, it would just be like zoop, and then you got like a totally raw edge of your handle. It feels so nice. So then the handle, I'm gonna have it line up to this edge here of the pocket. And I'm just clipping it in place to see what it looks like. I'm not gonna be top stitching this on this way. You will see my top stitching through on the lining, but I'm okay with that. I don't mind that. But I'm just like, is this what I want? Yeah, like, even if I get a bigger laptop, it'll fit in here. I like the distance of my handles. If you wanted to close it up even more, you could, but I'm okay with it because, like I said, I put them right next to each other there. Let's see. So the way it looks is just like a little swoop. Oh, it's so cute. You see that little swoop? I'm just worried I wouldn't be able to consistently make it look good. Make sure you don't get any of that silver pen on this like nylon. So yeah, I'm gonna make my other handle and we'll see. We still have to top stitch too. Like, I just wanna feel all that because I still need to decide, am I adding any kind of closure to this bag or not? Because this bag is just a big open dump tote with that big lanyard that kind of just hangs in. It's kind of fun. I could easily do that. And then a wristlet that attaches. Is that not so cute? $179. Why would I do that when I could make it? Oh, and that's all like one piece. It's not connected. So if you've not heard of Rothy's, I really love them. But they're recycled water bottle shoes. And so that fabric is like a fun woven recycled water bottle. It's like kind of soft. My sister has a couple of the Rothy bags, and the Velora bag that I designed is based off of one of the Rothy's bags. It's so cute. And I really wanted to buy one, and I never did. So I made one. I made a pattern instead. All right, so really close together along the bottom. Give myself some space along the top. And then really close. And like I see people who, well, yeah, you see how it's kind of twisting. So on the other one I started in the middle and worked my way out and didn't really have any twisting issues. So I wonder, I don't know. Okay, give me some space. And then really close together. So yeah, it kind of wants to twist on itself. My friend Nikki has a lot of good tips for making sure that your handles don't stretch like that, and it's, I thought it was starting in the middle of your strap and then working your way out. All right, let's check. Oh, we're gonna make it. She says, unsure, but hopeful. And then anything uneven, I'm just cutting away from the back of that strap. Ooh. All right. All right. So we have a full bobbin over here, which is perfect. We're going to put this in there, put it down, click it. I'm going to thread the machine, and then I'm going to check to make sure that I have my bobbin in properly. Test a few stitches before I go crazy. So I have used this machine a handful of times and I really do like it. This is the Thor GC 1341 from Sunny Sewing. I did purchase this. I did not ask for it to be painted pink, but I'm never not asking. Just saying. I do not have an affiliate link with Sunny Sewing, nor do I make any money when you purchase. So I always recommend people to do their research, look into other sellers, places closer to you. Obviously, I love Sunny Sewing and I want to give them your business, but I want you to know that you have free will. And I didn't tell you you had to purchase from them, okay? Okay. And I'm pretty sure he mostly just spray painted a lot of these parts. They're plastic, they're removable. So he may not do this all the time, but it's something you can also, I try to get through this part of threading the machine, okay, all at once, and so that's what I was struggling with. But I feel like I'm pretty good at threading this machine at this point. We do have one in Sew Whatever Studio, so like I've got to be good at it. This one does have a lot of extra oomph, so you gotta be careful when you're threading it and such. Okay, what have I done? I like tried to pull the thread up, but somehow it's looped around itself, so I'm just gonna snip something. Go me, I snipped the right thing. I have a little scrap here I can test on. Take my shoes off too. I wanted you to get a feel from this angle what the pedestal base is like. So here is my knee lift, and then I can control the speed is at 10,000. I'm just gonna bump it to 900. Hold your threads. Like, you gotta hold them like crazy for this machine. And I'm just gonna check to make sure that the threading is looking good. It looks good. I'm feeling confident. So I'm gonna go ahead and heel tap to bring my needle up. And if you're pulling and it still feels like there's tension, you're just gonna push on a little lever in the front, and that releases those tension discs. You could leave your little practice piece on the machine just as an extra security feature that your fabric or that your thread doesn't get sucked back in. Just looking now to make sure that I have everything threaded properly, and I do. So I'm gonna go for it. I have my hump jumper up here set at baseline 3. You can go thinner for thinner fabrics. You can go up for thicker fabrics or thicker seams. I may need to go up at the side seam. We should be okay. My stitch length, I think it's okay. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay. And then there is an edge guide here that swings down that you can use an Allen wrench to loosen and verify you've got it right as far as your seam allowance, but I'm just gonna eyeball it because that is what I want to do. And so it's gonna be up to me to kind of hold the bag as I'm top stitching. And again, grab your threads. Hold on to them for dear life. Okay. Grab your threads. Got it. I do have the thin not walking foot, but the thin foot on this machine. And then we'll just keep sewing. If you have the U-shaped table, there is a table insert you can buy that makes it a table down here, which honestly is pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. But I like to keep a little clip jar over there. You could also have a makeshift something or other down below to catch your droppings. I hate what I said. It's so nice. I did have, so this is actually my third cylinder arm machine. A little cylinder arm story if you haven't heard it. I had an Artisan 335B, and my thread would snap when I sewed. It was very frustrating. So I gave it to a friend who loves tinkering on machines. And then a couple years later, I bought a Texo 4800 Pro. I saw a lot of people that enjoyed it. They talked highly of it, and I was like, well, I want to try it. Because at one point I was like, I want my channel to be about possibly trying different machines. And then I quickly found that is not what I want to do. So if you came here for different machine trial, I don't know, you didn't. You came here to watch this weird experimental bag video. But I did not love it. It was more than I needed. It was more machine than I needed. I don't work with a lot of leather, so I don't need a big leather machine. I don't need a laser guide when I sew. And honestly, I don't even use the edge guide much that this machine has too. And I did not like the U-shaped table. And I kind of learned more about that from Garth at Myth Leather Co. I've watched a couple of his videos and chatted with him, and he actually cut off a portion of his table, but he is a little more inclined than I, so I was not about to do that. Okay, I'm going over a hump, so if I felt like I needed to, I could raise the hump of the foot here to help walk over that. That was a good choice. And then come back down. And so when I was shopping for another cylinder arm, I wanted the pedestal table. I'm like, I just want that. So when I was visiting Sunny Sewing and talking about purchasing this machine, I told them, oh, the tension is beautiful, that's what I was looking for. And Sam was like, ugh, they're so heavy, but okay. And then he was like, but what if it was powder coated pink? So this was his idea, not mine. But I wasn't about to say no. So I'm just saying it's very possible for you to have it powder coated. I don't know if Sam will do it. Maybe he would. But I love the pedestal table so friggin' much. It is harder to maneuver, so I'm holding the bag underneath right now, but this isn't a heavy bag, so I'm not mad about it. But it's better than trying to top stitch and have the bag like hitting something the whole time. Okay, so I raised the pressure up for that seam, and then I'm moving over. When I first got the machine, I felt like I was having issues with my layers shifting, and that is because I did not have the foot at the right height for the materials I was using, and I was kind of going a little too fast. So this is a compound walking foot machine where multiple things are moving at once. So if you're going way too fast, they can't really work together, as far as I know. I'm not an expert, so I could be wrong, in which case, read the comments. Someone will tell me. Don't worry, they'll tell me. Oh, it's so good. I'm really happy. Can you tell? Okay. So I'm going back where I started. I'm going to connect. And then this does have the needle positioner. I can lift up. And then tie my threads off. Or not. I'm really happy with this. I needed a win in life. All right. So now we can work on adding those handles, and I'm gonna do that with this machine as well. So hold please. Okay, so I did the thing to the handles and I freaking love it. So I just want to kind of show you, I think I measured, I didn't even measure, I just did it, but I just cut off a little swoop from each side in opposite directions. So I'm going to do that again. So it's a swoop that way so that the inside is a little curve. Okay, bye. Just to give you an idea of what that looks like. So then I measured, so it's like 3/4 of an inch up here to like a little curve down. And then I measured 2 inches from the top edge to here, and that's where I lined it up. And then it's on opposite ends of the slip pocket, so it really, like, you don't even see it. Like, where is it? You can't even tell. I did not add any kind of a closure to the top of the bag, but I think that it just kind of lends itself to however I need it to be. So I'm okay with it just being a big open bag, because then, like, if I'm driving in the car and I need to grab something out of it, I can just grab it. I am going to possibly mark out my stitching lines. Put that back. Just so I don't go up too high, but maybe I just want to stitch to the top. We'll be fine. Why not? I'm gonna bump my seam allowance, my stitch length down just a smidge though. I had, it's like I had a light here and now I don't. There it is. It's so good. Again, hold your threads. Hold your threads and your horses. All right. So I'm going to start with my needle down in the fabric where I want to start my stitching. This is going to be quite a bulky seam because this is over that slip pocket. So see how it goes, and just remember your needle may be in, but you have not started sewing yet. So for the love of God, hold your threads. What did I tell you? Okay. I'm going to pivot with my needle down. And really make sure that you're not like leaning your knee against. I had a skip stitch because I had a skip stitch and my mic died. It's pretty funny. Pretty good timing. So I thought that I was leaning my foot. Nope, my knee up against the knee lift, like I said, and that was what caused the skip stitch. And I mentioned I might just try to use a hand needle to hide it, but in the end, the bag is too beautiful. You can't even see it, so I'm not that bothered by it. So I'm just going really carefully along that raw edge. I'm using the hand crank to make sure that my needle lands exactly where I want it. And I'm also using the reverse lever to, again, make sure that needle is going exactly where I want it. And then I'm going to pivot this way. I did read my lips there. And I have really been enjoying this machine. I think I mentioned that in the beginning. I don't know, I think the motor isn't quite as strong as the Texo 4800 Pro, so it's able to do lighter weight things. So pros and cons there, and just do your research. Yep, so there I said I was doing the back stitch. You can see, if you're watching the needle mechanism, it's moving along with the feet to make it so I can put my needle in exactly where I want it. So I'm using the reverse lever and the hand crank. And then I think I decided to go one more stitch in before lifting up. Here is where I'm talking about using a little needle. I'm like, nah, it's fine. It's not that serious. I don't want to do it. And then if you cannot pull your threads, there's a little lever you can push so that your threads slide out nice and easy. Leave your tails long so you can tie them off. Yep, that's what I just said. Cool. And then we're going to repeat that again without any audio 3 more times. I'm going to do that side now. For some reason, they kept getting more and more awkward. And then I mentioned that this one I would be able to do a little bit better because I'll keep an eye on making sure my knee doesn't rest on the foot lift. I have no idea what I'm saying. Oh, I think I said I'm starting like right on the edge of the fabric so that all that stays lined up. I probably should just speed through this. What do we think? Hold your threads. Yes, definitely hold your threads. I think that was an issue I had with my first cylinder arm, is I really underestimated how much I needed to hold my threads, so don't make that mistake. I don't have the mental energy to read my lips, my God. Okay, we're gonna speed through it, y'all. Thank you for bearing with me for 3 minutes. I don't know how long ago my mic died. It's fine. Barbara Craig, a recent Relic Designs. She designs tables and accessories for cylinder arm machines and other machines. I love watching her channel, so if you're not subscribed, you should definitely check it out. So close to sewing through multiple layers, and I just barely hit it. I would have cried. So yeah, there's probably a better way for me to sew these on, but here we go. But this machine does come with a flatbed attachment, or it should, I should say. Mine did. Okay. Let's go tie all that off. Okay. Here it is all done. It's so pretty. Like, it's really sturdy. Here's the bottom. So as you can see, like, my measurement was off. Doesn't look, there we go. I was like, it doesn't look like it was off consistently, but I swear it was. But I am okay with that. I think it looks really fun on the inside. I love all the pockets. I'm gonna move in today and put like my iPad and my laptop in there, so I have it, and this is my new work bag. I do love the Taylor tote, but I just wanted something fun and new, and like I've wanted this Rothy bag for a while, and I have this, so it's all good. So thanks for hanging out with me while I made it. I know this one was kind of like chatty and experimental, but sometimes you learn the most through those, and I hope you guys have a really good 2024, because it's here whether we want it or not.